Okay, I thought I'd jump in with a real quick one, a real Q&A video real quick, because a lot of people have been encouraged to start the fast. And you really have to know how to go into it and come out of it especially. It's actually more important coming out of a fast than going into it. And Filanov says this, Shishnikov says this. There's just two things that the guys that invented this recognized early on. So I've got a few questions, and I got some answers for it based on what people have been asking me. The first question is, can you explain refeeding syndrome and why exiting a fast properly, as you say, is more important than actual fast? Yeah, good first question. Refeeding syndrome is something that doctors noticed after people lost out in the ocean and starving in the desert and that sort of stuff were fed food way too fast with lots of protein and stuff in it, and they had all kinds of edema and swelling and bloating and all this stuff, because that's not how you recover from starvation therapy or starvation generally. This is why we suggest the reintroduction of your electrolytes, which are essential for regulating tissue hydrations, sodium especially, potassium, magnesium. That's why we do the coconut water after the fast ends, because of the potassium. And we also do the baking soda for the sodium bicarbonate, so that you get the sodium, and the magnesium, so you get magnesium in your system. The sodium is really important because you have these sodium pumps on your cell surfaces that allow water in and out with the aquaporins, and you have to have these minerals in your body to allow fluids to come into and out of the cells. So you're having this natural movement of water. If you don't, it can't get to the cells. The water builds up in the extracellular matrix, and you end up bloating. So that's how to prevent that. The other thing is to reintroduce food slowly. That's why we prefer the bone broth. It's got minerals, vitamins, all these proteins, but only collagen protein, which your fascial system needs after a fast to rebuild itself. That's what refeeding syndrome is all about. It's the reintroduction of food too fast after starvation, and it causes all kinds of problems because you need to get your electrolytes in first. You can read about it in the Phoenix Protocol. Second question. I've done 4-day dry fast now since reading the Phoenix Protocol, and they have all gone well except for insomnia and some aches and pains until the fast ends when I crash. I get weak and listless during the recovery period. Is this normal? Yeah, it sure is normal, because what happens during this time period is your complete circadian rhythm goes out the door. As your brain is being repaired, as your hypothalamus and hippocampus is being repaired, all these things are going on in the head, and that screws up your sleeping cycles. Also, you'll find that sleeping will be a problem. A lot of people complain about this, especially after day 4 and 5. It's almost impossible to sleep in 5 and 6. A lot of people take walks outside in the evening. They deep breathe in the cool evening air. I personally like to use a large room fan and just turn the thing on and have tons of white noise, because as your system is resetting, as your body's going through this, all your senses are hyper. Your sense of smell, your sense of touch, your sense of hearing. And because of that, any noise in the room will wake you right up. That's why I use a white noise. A fan is just white noise. You can also use like a recording of the ocean waves crashing and stuff. Some kind of white noise that shuts out all the clutter noise that keeps pinging you to get back awake all the time. That helps. Aches and pains, usually this is because of past injuries that are being addressed and healed, because your body is in a mode now that wants to tear up scar tissue and replace it with new tissue and stuff like that. What we've found is that getting a hot water bottle and doing a hot water bottle over the area tends to really fix it really fast. The other thing is, people say cold showers, hot showers. It depends on what you want to do. Sometimes a hot shower is very soothing to these kind of aches and pains. Sometimes a cold shower is very soothing. It just has to do with what you're going through. But yes, these are totally normal. After the fast ends, you'll find yourself, really still screwed up and you're waking and sleeping. And you'll have a hard time sleeping. I suggest the bone broth and the minerals and stuff. That'll help you get back into normal sleep mode. And that it's totally normal to be very weak after these things, because you've just done a deliberate anhydrous starvation therapy on yourself, and you've taken yourself into a very, very hard place to be for the human body. It's a great place as far as activating hormetic stress, which is what all the benefits come from. But at the same time, you're going to be weak. You're going to, just want to sleep a lot. You want to really catch up on your sleep and rest. You think you can get going on something, but in the middle of it, you'll just get tired and pass out practically. So just go with that. Realize that this is your body coming out of the fast, and it's totally normal to feel that. Usually after 2 or 3 days after the fast is over, you'll really start to wake up, have more energy, and that's pretty much normal as well. Okay, third question. Previously, I've had tons of energy while fasting, but on my 4th go-around, it was just the opposite. I had to rest most of the time, and now that I've come off it, I'm having a harder time eating food. My stomach seems more shrunk at this time, and I have to nibble food now. Am I overdoing it? No. This is the other thing that should be explained to people that are considering dry fasting. There is no way to predict what genetic type you have, what genetic predispositions you have, what toxins you've been exposed to, what damage you've had during your lifestyle. So there's no way to determine how you will respond to dry fasting. Generally, 80% of us just go through the thing, get it over with. It's a little uncomfortable, you get a little fever, you get a little tired, it's fine. Other people that have been really seriously hurt with car accidents and brain injuries and this kind of stuff, they really kind of hurt, and it really takes a long time to heal because your body is in a mode now that it can't repair that stuff. It can't be done while you eat. That's why people who get these traumatic injuries have a hard time healing because they never stop eating. That's my theory, and I think the theory has been proven out. So what you'll experience is pain in some areas where you've been hurt, aches and tiredness and malaise because you're getting rid of tons of toxins, and those toxins are in your system affecting you because they've been sequestered someplace so they don't. So once you release them for elimination, there will be a time when some of this stuff will be bothering you a little bit. That's normal too. After the recovery period and during the recovery period, you'll start to perk back up. You'll have a really different attitude and a different perspective about life after this is over. It's really quite remarkable. But yeah, that's normal too. So it's hard to say how you're going to go through it, but everybody's a little different. Number 4, I finished my fast and suffered some insomnia at day 5, which was manageable. But after the fast, I didn't sleep for days after that. I'm wondering if I detoxed myself of all these stimulants from the caffeine and tea that I always drink afterwards, and that's now keeping me awake. Well, again, a lot of the things that we take into our bodies have a long-term residual effect on our behavior, on our awareness, on our awakeness, that sort of stuff. My partner, for instance, was always really wanted tea after the fasts are over, really wanted so forth. The last one she had, she really didn't want the tea suddenly. It may be that some of these things that are in you are things that you've relied on for a while now, and you've eliminated some of the byproducts of the toxic residues that they create, because everything does. And you might not have that draw to refill that toxic residue again because you've gotten rid of most of it. Really not sure on that one. But again, it's just how everybody goes through these things differently. You'll have your own unique personal experience with this, but you'll probably get through it pretty easily. All right, number 5. Question. My first dry fast went fantastic, and I felt great until about day 2 after ending it. I noticed my ankles were swelling up. I increased the dose of magnesium and potassium, as you mentioned, and the swelling went down, so I suspect I didn't take enough to begin. How long should I continue with magnesium and potassium? Well, the coconut water gives you about 1,200 milligrams of potassium, so that's a biggie right there, and that's important. You take at least 200 milligrams of magnesium every day and another 100 milligrams of potassium. You drink and add salt to your diet, at least a teaspoon or 2 every day, because you need the sodium, and that's a great way to get that. Also, you get chlorine. It's sodium chloride. Chlorine is really important for your stomach to be able to manufacture hydrochloric acid, which is your stomach acid to digest foods. So again, after the fast is over, you want to reestablish these critical electrolytes with all these other metabolic functions, because you want to be able to go back into nutritional digestion again and have it all work. So again, you need to take the magnesium, potassium for at least the 7 days of recovery, and you'll feel great. Okay, question number 6. I finished my first 7-day dry fast, had no problems except all the weight I lost returned as soon as I started eating. I tried to limit the amount of food I ate, but it was impossible since all I could think of while fasting was what I was going to eat when it was over. My appetite took over. How do you control that? Well, there's a couple of things that happen. You're going to gain back 10 pounds of water weight as soon as you get off the fast because you've dehydrated your fascial system, which is your sponge, which holds a lot of water in the body, so there's water next to the cells so the water can get in and out of the cells, and that's going to be reestablished really fast. In fact, there's like 9 channels that take this stuff into the deep tissue, so you're going to get all that weight back, just water weight. That's fine. As far as gaining fat weight, okay, fat is based off sugar intake. That's why we suggest the bone broths, vegetable broths, that kind of stuff. You know, leafy greens, some proteins and stuff after day 6 or 7, so that you can reestablish your protein intake, which you absolutely need, which you'll learn about in neogenesis, and the greens for all the minerals and vitamins and stuff that come with the vegetable matter. You don't need carbohydrates. There's no requirement for carbohydrates in the body. So if you really want to kind of control that weight issue as you come out of the fast, You got to control the bread, the donuts, the pasta, the carbohydrate-laden foods, all that kind of stuff, potatoes. As much as they're great, you got to give them a rest for a while and eat them sparingly anyway during the year anyhow. So the other issue is if you really want to control your weight, which I talk about in Neogenesis, you got to build muscle because muscle burns sugar. Burning sugar is how you get rid of the thing that can cause weight because fat cells are just designed to store sugar that comes in from carbohydrates. And also, if you're not eating all those carbohydrates, you're also controlling your insulin levels, which I've talked about in Neogenesis extensively. Very important. It's not just about weight. It's about controlling the amount of insulin in the system at any given time because it's really, really hard on the body, specifically really delicate tissues. Okay, question 7. I have lost upwards of 20 pounds during my dry fast. What's the best way to keep that weight off after the dry fast? Well, we talk about it in the book. Don't overeat, don't overeat, don't overeat. The more you eat, the faster you accumulate weight. And if you're not exercising, the faster you're going to accumulate weight. So increase your exercise as you can, limit your amount of food you take in, and you'll be a lot better off. And that's how to control the weight, the rapid weight gain after a dry fast. Do the broths, do the nutrient stuff. You don't need the bulk stuff, and you certainly don't need the carbohydrates. There's no requirement, like I said, in the body for carbohydrates. Question number 8. I've only ever managed to do multiple 5-day fasts because I don't sleep at that point. The good news is I've lost 50 pounds and kept it off, but what I'd like to know is, am I getting the benefits of stem cell activation by not doing the 7 days? That's a really great question because, you know, after I've been looking at this for years now, I see a couple of ways to think about this. At day At day 3, you turn off your PKA and you activate your stem cells into duplication. Well, your stem cells will replicate and produce a daughter cell. It'll replace a cell for itself sitting in the niche. It'll replace a daughter cell that goes into transit amplifying and progenitor and all that stuff over 4 or 5 days. Once it's set into motion, it's going to turn into a stem cell that's going to be used in one of the organs of the bodies. The 7-day dry fast is great because it gives you 5 populations that go all the way to progenitor. But a 5-day dry fast gives you 3 generations that go all the way to progenitor. So you may get not as many stem cells infused into your system, but you'll still get quite a bunch. Out of the 220 niches, you've got 2 million stem cells. So 2, 4, 6 in 5 days. So the 5 day is fine. If you can't go to 7, which is the ultimate longevity fast distance, and I will probably be starting to incorporate these into my fasting regime anyway. I'll do maybe a 7-day once a year, but I may do a 5-day once a year too. So I suggest the 5-day is a great way to still get the stem cell activation and the benefits of the stem cells without having to go all the way to 7. I know a lot of people have a hard time taking a couple of weeks off to go through a 7-day and a 7-day recovery, where it might be able to start with a Friday, by Monday you're on a 3-day, you end the fast on a Friday, you recover over the weekend, and you're ready the next week. There may be a way to incorporate this in your normal week of working, and it might be a lot easier for a lot of people. But yeah, you'll still get the stem cell benefit by doing a 5-day. Okay, says here number 9. I just finished my first dry fast and feel fantastic. As I'm a vegetarian, I won't be following the protein guidelines of Phoenix Protocol, but I will take the supplements. So when exactly do I start them? Well, yeah, veganism is great. You can find all the proteins you need in vegan sources. You have to be a little careful about the omega-6 oils that come in some of those sources. I talk about that in Neogenesis. I promote veganism in Neogenesis. And other protein sources like quinoa, which has all the essential amino acids, and all these other forms of protein you can get, hummus, great sources that aren't animal-based that still provide you all the elements you need. Again, with a vegan diet, you have to be more focused on the amino acids you get. You have muscle turnover to maintain muscle and grow muscle. That's fine. You can find them in 6 or 7 foods in adequate amounts. But you really have to be more concerned about the seed oils. This is the real problem, and I talk about it in Neogenesis. So yeah, great questions. I think that maybe this will help some of the people that are in the middle of it, considering doing it, and certainly that need to know about what to do to come out of it, because that really is the most important part of the fast. And as far as the supplements go, when do you start them exactly? Probably around day 4 or 5. I mean, give your body a rest. You're taking all these other electrolytes and all their stuff. Your system is in regeneration mode already. And yeah, in 5 and 6, go ahead and start taking the stem cell regen, the polyphenol plus, the Fisetin, and the resveratrol. I'm going to do a video on resveratrol, some new things that come out about this particular nutraceutical that are very exciting, but I'll save that for another video. Anyway, I will talk to you soon, and I'll be providing more of the reasons videos after this. Have a great day.